Hello, everyone. Welcome to the session. I'm Riza.
And I'm Jolaika. And today we have the pleasure of interviewing my husband, Osay Green. So we're very excited to have him.
Welcome. Oh, welcome. Oh, I'm happy that we're on the podcast, getting to know more about your relationship. Tell us how you guys met, how long you've been together.
We met in Vegas and we've been together for a little over 10 years. Met us at like a nightclub. It was during fight week, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, so 2015. And she was on the dance floor, just having a good time, smiling, looking beautiful, having that good, just inner glow. And I really didn't want to party that night because I was kind of partied out, but I just kept watching her for I don't know how long. And then eventually
Long.
I got her attention and kind of was trying to get her to come like, over and party, have drinks with us. Eventually she did and kind of, that's how we met and kind of kicked it off.
Yeah. I was, like you said, on the dance floor. Was Aisha's 30th birthday. Aisha's my aunt. And so that was the purpose that we went to Vegas. And so we're on the dance floor. And when I turn over, like I just happened to catch his eye, look like seeing this man looking at me. And I'm like, okay. And I see him like waving at me. And to myself, I'm thinking like, you come to me, but
You gotta come over here.
right. And then I was just like, okay, whatever. It's a crowd, I'll just go. I'm like, hey. So we ended up hanging out the rest of the night, in the VIP area. But his favorite part to say, which I'm surprised he didn't say it,
Well, that you fought over me?
that I fought over him.
She did a little bit. It was a little
It
it was
wasn't
a
like a
little violent.
physical.
Yeah,
It
like
wasn't a physical fight. It
no,
was more of like a very subtle. I remember we were like kind of sitting close to each other and I had to use the restroom. So I go to the restroom. And then when I come back, there's another young lady sitting, like talking to him. And I'm like, okay, cool. When I see her chatting with him, I just go over and I sit on his lap. And I'm like,
Look at
but
her. He's
but
like,
I don't know.
I just sat there and I'm like looking like,
I think the way she's painting the big picture is probably not clear enough for why it kind of makes sense for her to do so because we was talking probably for 30, 45 minutes prior
prior.
to her going to the restroom. The females that was one of the females that was talking to me at the time, they was already kind of in the section that we was in at, but I wasn't really paying nobody no attention because I really didn't want to be there. So I didn't care. And I think by them seeing me calling other females to the situation that we had going on while we already had
yeah.
females and drinks and a party going on, I think they kind of was noticing that. And then soon as she got up to leave, it felt like she just tried to rush in to, kind of get in the way so she could, if she do come back or when she do come back, she can go about her business. And I think when she did realize that, all she did was just decide, hey, listen, I ain't just giving up that quick. This guy was talking to me. He showed a lot of interest in me. Watch out. And then she just said, "I'm out."
I just sat on his lap and I was just quiet listening to their conversation. I didn't even
That
say
was funny
nothing.
too, because the female kept talking, but she was talking with like, with that like kind of like, just a little,
What is she?
what is she doing? Or, and it
Yeah.
kind of flustered her a little bit, but eventually she was kind of like, I guess she was just kind of thinking a little bit too much. And then eventually she just got up and was like, okay, I just leave then, I guess. So that's kind of that's the fight that I'm talking about.
I mean, if I feel like if she wouldn't have walked away, that would have just made it weird, like really awkward.
Wanted to either. So it was cool that she did. And it actually, I was slightly impressed because it showed that she showed some type of interest because I didn't know at first. I mean, she came over and we was having a good time, but when you first meet somebody, you really don't know what they feeling inside of, if they feeling you or whatnot. But by her coming back and not allowing that situation to, make our conversation end, I was appreciative.
She
Yeah,
fought. She
She fought
fought
a
for
little
her.
bit. Shot me a little
that's
bit.
what he says. It's like she fought for me. I'm like, not really, but it was just fun,
I mean,
whatever.
but it's funny when you put it that way.
Yeah.
Then it kinda just it turned around full circle because he ended up having to fight for you in a sense.
Yeah, because he had to show that he was, like, interested and truly, because I was just like, we exchanged numbers, and of course, at the time, I was living in Florida, and he lives here in Charlotte, so we were talking, and I told him, like, from the beginning, I was like, "Look, I'm not looking for any more friends, like, you know, want something serious." Not saying that he was gonna be my forever at the time when we were talking, but I was like, I would love to if you are interested in me, and I want us to talk, but seriously, like to get to a point where I'm like, okay, I'm not just gonna just be kicking it, having fun or whatever. I'm trying to, at that time I was what, 28? I was 28. So he showed initiative. He was always communicating, and he came to visit me in Florida. I went to visit him in here in Charlotte. And so we saw each other throughout that year. And then he says he never said this, but one night when we were talking, I was like, he said, "Oh, well, it would be nice for you to be living here in Charlotte." And so maybe I took that a little too like, well, let me start applying. Let me start applying to jobs and see what happens. Cause he
Dang,
has his son, right?
you jumped on it. You were like, "I'm gonna find a job."
Right. I was like, okay, well, let's see how the relationship is when we're in the same state, right? Because it's always different when you're like long distance.
Mhm.
So, I always believe like and always pray to God, like, okay, if like even with jobs or anything, like if this is where I'm supposed to be, God is going to open that door. And if not, he's going to close the door. And so I apply. And I always tell people, I'm like, prior to me meeting him, I was already at a point where I always was open to move to a different city or a different state. Um, and so I applied to like places in Atlanta because I have people that I know there. I applied to places like down south in Florida, like Miami, Fort Lauderdale area. Never being within the same state or even Orlando, and never had got any calls back or anything. So I applied. I was like, okay, well, if I am going to move to Charlotte, I want to first have a job. I'm not just gonna move, right, without having a job there. And then also I was gonna have my own place. And I applied, quickly got callbacks, had interviews.
What kind of impression did that give you about what type of woman she was?
When he decided to come to Charlotte, or was
Not only when she decided to come to Charlotte, but everything that she's saying she did. She took initiative to find a
yeah,
job, took initiative to find her own place. Not only was she going over there, in a sense, she was going over there and she was gonna stabilize herself. She wasn't even asking you, "Oh, I'm gonna move in with you. Oh, I need you to take care of me while I'm over here."
yeah.
What impression did that give you from a man's point of view?
I think it was I was excited to have her here, but also was a little, not scared, but kind of like wondering how would it be and how it's gonna be. I kind of was thinking to myself now when she actually started moving, like I hope that we like it here. I hope that things go well and just things of that nature. I didn't want her to be really doing all this in vain. To be doing all that moving and finding a place and just uproot her whole life. I didn't want her to do that in vain.
Like,
Without,
how did you like, it didn't make you feel some kind of way that she was like, "I'm gonna find my job. I'm gonna
yeah,
find
I mean,
myself."
I f I felt I had already sensed it anyway, but I felt like she was, a person that, would take initiative and kinda take charge of what, she want her life to be and what her life to look like. So I felt kind of that, which to me was a plus as well too. It was in the moment. I was pretty excited for it though because it was just like I also didn't have an opportunity really to like see a lot of her and be around her that much. So, I had a little mix of emotions, but a part of it just was the scary part of it was her doing all of this, me meeting her family, having her here, and like, what if she end up not liking it here, or we don't work out and she have to go back? Like, so that's what I was thinking about sometimes as well too.
Okay. So tell me, uh, tell me how did it unfold? How did you guys like form that bond? Because of course, like you guys are saying, it's a long distance relationship is nothing like having a relationship, relationship that you have with somebody that lives nearby.
I think we hit it off well. We had good chemistry. I mean, she had to be very patient with me because when we met, like even me meeting her in Vegas, like I just was in that party mode lifestyle. So the only reason why I didn't want to be at the party that night is because we was partied out. We got that probably on a Thursday and we doing night parties, day parties, pool parties. It's kind of that's just kind of like what I was involved in. So even with her, you know, her coming to Charlotte, what was like 6 months later or so, 8 months later, I don't know. I still kind of was in that space. And early on in our relationship, like I was kind of, I guess, 2 feet in and 1 feet out because I still used to go party and go out of town a lot. I play poker as well too, so I'm already out of town, just playing in poker tournaments and things like that. I'm also a trucker, so it'd be times where I'm running loads places. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, it was challenging. It was definitely challenging in the beginning.
But just knowing Yolaika for a long time, Yolaika is a social butterfly. So I'm pretty sure that you got here and like you said, you found your place, you found your job, you found your people, right? I'm pretty sure you created
It Yeah, it did. It definitely took time. I think that we were both in different, even though yes, it was like he said, like he was 2 feet in, 1 foot out, like he wanted us, right? He wanted that relationship with me, but then he was still
but
wanting something else.
That's why it's 2 foot in, because the normal saying is 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I was two
yeah.
feet in because I still was committed to what we had going, but occasionally I put 1 foot out and just come back.
Yeah,
That's
he was still in that right lifestyle. And I'm like, look, I've been there. Like I'm trying to, like, I actually moved over here, whatever. So I think it was just challenging in that sense in the beginning. I did meet people, of course, like I have my close relationships that I built through like work. But I mean, and because you moved with your ex-husband, you moved to Texas, you moved to Seattle, and how hard it is to like start from scratch and actually build those relationships with other people. So, I think I was coming to Florida, I want to say like maybe every month or something. Like I was coming back home because it was hard. I mean, I did meet close people that helped me through the process. And so the times where, but it was still lonely at times. Because I'm like, I'm here for you, right? Like, I came here for you. So I want us to spend time together. I want us to do things and hang out together, right? It's like, so yeah, that piece, it definitely was hard in the beginning, but we
Yeah.
made it through by the grace of God.
Wow.
Yeah, early on, everybody who met her kind of loved her immediately from just like if you meet her, you would just sense how um just uh kind she is and how like just you just sent so many different characteristics that you love. It reminded me of kind of my mama from, just the kind of the way her patience and, the way she kind of just carry herself. I could just remember one time we were riding in a cab when we first met in Vegas, and I was taking her. I rode in a cab with her to the airport just to drop her off, and during that little time, you know, I'm still whispering sweet nothings in her ear, and I'm paying attention to what we talking about. Her and the taxi her and the taxi cab guy was talking, but you know how it is when you get in the Uber or a taxi, like they talking, but I'm like, nobody really want to hear what he's talking about, and she just showed me a classy way to tell me to shut the hell up, and I respected it because I was still whispering sweet nothings in her ear, you know what I'm saying, while they talking. And she was smiling, still engaged in that conversation, but I'm over here having our own conversation, and she just politely was like, and then just looked back at him, and I was like, "Did she just tell me to shut the hell up without telling me to shut the hell up?" And then I shut the hell up the whole time. So I was like, I kind of respected it, and it was a little graceful way of, you know, that I wasn't, used kind of used to that. I was more so whoever I meet, they kind of get on my vibe and my time. That's something normally that a chick I would have met just would have been, you know, engaged with me and doing the same thing that I was doing. Kind of like,
Yeah.
yeah, I hear you, but I don't hear what you're talking about. You know what I mean? So it's a little different. My family loved her, needed. It just was me just coming to terms, and then after years and years and years, most of them was like, "Bro, what the hell are you doing?" Like, my sister was like, "I don't understand why y'all ain't married yet." Like, so I was getting I was getting that type of pressure from, like, full court press from everybody that I knew from, you know, everybody. So
You better make it
and I
happen.
did already know. I felt like I also identified her, that she was gonna be my wife. I felt like I also, reassured her many times, even from the engagement, from throughout, even before that. We had kids and we lived together. I never did that to either in my life. So all of that stuff was like to me was like me telling you, hey, this is something that I'm in this thing for the long haul, even though I'm not quite there yet.
I remember the day you told me you were moving. Yeah, I was like, "What? You're
How
moving
did
where?"
you feel about that?
How did I feel about it? My heart was broken because she was my best friend, and I was like, "I didn't tell you you can move to." No, girl. Mind you, I was, like, in transition, or if I was not in transition, I was already moved to another state. But in my mind, I wanted her here, so when I come home and visit, I can see my friend. I mean, that's how when you're young and selfish and you don't even think people need to create their life or whatever. That's how you think. I was like, "No, you need to be right here. So when I come home, we can hang out, we can do things." I mean, it was like a confusing moment for me.
But that following year, that's when I went to visit you in Seattle. I wanna say in 2016.
Oh, so I didn't know that she actually went to Seattle to visit you. That's when your car got broken
That's
into.
when my car well, that's when her
I
car got
remember this.
yeah.
That was me. That was me.
Oh, okay, okay.
That was me. She came to visit. That was that was traumatizing. Like I feel like
Yeah,
everybody that was involved in that was very
yeah,
traumatizing. To this
that was
day, like when I go to Poland, when I go to park in a garage, I scope it out before I park my car in a garage. I don't just
It done traumatized her a little bit too, I feel like, 'cause I can't keep nothing out. Like, whatever I got in the car, put it in the trunk. Whatever I got in the car, take it out. Like, it's sometimes it be simple stuff to where, like, if somebody gonna steal it, let 'em have it. But no,
yeah.
she don't wanna leave nothing of value nowhere in sight ever.
I would say it wasn't even the things they got stolen. I would say it's that they stole peace from us. Like that was supposed to be a weekend that the three of us spent together. I wanted to show them my city. Wanted to I mean, we were if we did something really stupid. We did something so stupid because we could have just Stopped at the hotel, which we were gonna do that. I don't know what made us change our mind and leave our stuff and then keep going, but we didn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, moving here and just our relationship, and he proposed 20 years later.
Hey, sounds like a man. 20 years later.
We was married before we was married. She
Yes.
she just didn't buy into all that. She needed to see the ring and have the paperwork and all of that situation going on. I really wasn't, like, so, attached to all of that.
Yeah, he proposed May of 22. He surprised me. I was in Puerto Rico for my grandmother's 80th birthday celebration that was going to be happening. And um he was supposed to be at his sister's co-ed bachelor party in Vegas. And I thought the whole time that he was on his way there, and he happened to surprise me. How did that uh come up? Like, how did you, decide to, like, okay, this is the opportunity, and contact my dad?
Yeah, I don't know. I just saw, like you said, it was an opportunity because I knew you was gonna be there with your family, and he was gonna be there. No, it was gonna be already some, people there who I wanted to do it in front of. So I just felt like it was a good, time to do it. And thinking about like what what my sister had going on based on, just you being there. I just felt like, I don't know if I can recreate that like scenario where she's there, you know, at that time in Puerto Rico. So I just had to take it upon myself to just try it and see how it worked, and
Mhm.
it worked out pretty good.
It did. It was really nice. It was by the beach. I was surprised. I was taking a picture with my grandmother, and all of a sudden I see him walking up, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?" But I think, it was a very special moment because my dad picked him up because they were trying to fly in around the same time. And I was like, "Where is my dad taking so long?" And because we were all meeting to go out to eat. The only thing is nobody warned me, so I had on, like, some shorts and a shirt, like, I was just looking regular, like, no, not dressed up or anything, but, it was still special. Unfortunately, my mom wasn't there, but, having my grandmother there was special. It was great that I have people capturing that moment. My uncles, aunts, they were there. Isaiah and Noah were there, seeing their dad propose to their mom. So I think it was just overall a very nice moment. And being that that was the last time that I saw my grandmother, because the following year she passed away, she was still able to witness, like, him coming, surprising me, and proposing. And she just loved him. So
Who does it?
Funny. That's really, really nice. That's the fact that you went to Puerto Rico. That was the bold move of you. And also her grandmother got to be there. That's very special.
To me, it was pretty smooth sailing. I mean, she was, I guess just having moments of just checking in to see exactly when the date would be that I really proposed without no clue of when that date would be because it was just something that I just wanted her to know that, I have identified you as my wife. We are definitely getting married. So I didn't really do it with a timeline in mind. And um,
it was all out of whack. It was just all like, "Oh, I'll just give you the ring." And then maybe another 10 years will pass
it
by.
wasn't 10 years, but
Like,
no, I'm saying me giving her a ring, I still felt like that was like a big, big step, especially for somebody like me, because I was like, so you have to know my background to know I've never like even throughout my whole adult life would had a girlfriend. So I used to like, well, I wouldn't say I had people in my life that I would, you know, uh, And
He was in situationships.
yeah, and it was times to where I would only be with like one person. So it is somebody that I in my past that I was with for an extended period of time. But we never really put a title on it. And that's always kind of being like my MO. And that's kind of what I used to catch flack about like throughout my life is that I never wanted to, I guess show a huge
Commit.
commitment. Yeah,
Mhm.
so to me, I felt like it was still that was pretty big for me, given my background, and I always promise myself whenever I do even get a girlfriend that it's probably gonna be my wife. So for me, even getting to the point where she live here now, we living together, we have kids, and then we get to the point where I buy you a ring, and then I bought a decent ring, to my
Yeah.
standard anyway. So I thought that was huge. I thought that was something to where
Just and it's
but I thought it was decent enough to where, we should be able to take our time and just get to that
yeah,
point whenever we want to. I kinda don't move on other people's timelines in a way, a timetable, like, I move to my own drum, so I don't care about nobody pressure or what they saying, that's just never kinda been a thing that moved me.
for you, was a huge step because, like, in your eyes, I can see what you're saying that for you, this was a big thing.
So of course, I would say that between um him proposing and the following year my grandmother passing away, I think that was a huge change in our relationship and like the course. Um because for me at least a lot happened. I was of course grieving and we were having our challenges. After my grandmother passed away, that's when um I've always sought, right, to have a deeper relationship with God. I believe in God, like, always had that background. But of course, not living in the right way, shacking up. I started to attend church heavily. I found my church home, really just wanted to continue in that path. And I then got baptized, accepted Christ as my Lord and Savior. And being that I did that and I was still living to me, right? My conviction was that I was still living, but I wasn't married. And so we were, having some challenges with that. And for him, and that's something, that we kind of struggled because he knew me, right? We've been living together for 10 years. We had our kids already, and then now I'm like, guess what? And he came to my baptism and everything. The kids were there. But I'm just like, well, now this is things have to change. Like I need to get married and, I'm not having any relations until I get married. And so that right there was he
I mean, clearing that up, sexual relations is what you're
yeah.
saying. Okay, then O steps in and says, "How did you
What? Like, who agreed to this? Like, when did we have that conversation? Like, who's doing this? Like, all of that kinda was going on in my mind, and I know I voiced it to her a couple times too,
didn't I
just
just buy
because
you and now you wanna hold?"
I mean, that's something that I feel like if you decide that you basically decided for me too. So for you to decide that I'm gonna be celibate until I'm married, like I think that's a conversation to where we both need to be on the same page with that. Not you just come home on a random Tuesday or what you went I think she went to Texas to visit one of her friends at a retreat, and I guess she was already feeling this way, but when she got back from that trip, that's when she kind of wanted to put the law down and say, from this day forward, no. And to me, I'm
Yeah,
like, hold on, you already been gone for like 5 or 6 days, and I know how my biological clock works, so I'm already kind of thinking to myself,
yeah.
how things finna come when she get back, and then for her to do that, it was kind of like,
She
I
came
was,
back fine.
yeah, like it wasn't what I was thinking. I was thinking I'm finna, see my woman, we finna be cuddled up, I get to rub and touch and do all and she just was not going for it, and it was getting frustrating to me because not only did I have to endure that for that day, like, it kinda lingered for the rest of that week and then the next week, and then it just became, like, a part of our relationship to where every day, like, I just knew and it started taking a little toll on me, to be honest.
Mhm, mhm. So, how did this so, just pausing here because now we see that Yolika has taken her step with God. She's taking it a step further. She's diving in deeper with God and she's, feeling that God is leading her to restrain herself from any sex until you guys are officially married. How was at this point in time, how was your relationship with God? Like, what
I
kind
did
of
Me and
did you
God always had a very intimate, very, like God always showed up in my life throughout my whole life. And he's actively intervened so many different times. I done had a out of body experience before. I done had like my life flash before my eyes. So me and God got a very, to me, a strong relationship. So me to having the absence of sex out of my life, like I don't feel like that is necessarily anything that I needed to do to strengthen my relationship with God, in my opinion. I was already 40 plus years old, I think, by then, or close to it. So I done went my whole adult lifehood sexually active. So for somebody to just take sex off the table when it's not nothing that I need to like try overcome or strengthen or see myself being able to withstand. And I think that was her stance on it. Like, no, you just need to be able to do this. And it was show like, no, you can't say that for me. And if I need to strengthen things in my life, then I should be able to choose what what that is that I'm trying to strengthen. And it was just getting frustrated because it's frustrating to me because we wasn't seeing eye to eye. And she wasn't really trying to hear me, and I was trying to be as supportive as I could, but to a degree, because I still occasionally wanted to go upstairs and cuddle, and every time, like, it was like a, "Hold on," and yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, we got to the point where we're like, okay, well, we probably won't be together because I felt like he wasn't respecting, where I was in my walk with God. And not that I never forced him. I was raised Catholic.
And so,
Yeah.
my dad, when he got locked up, like, he came into the Nation of Islam, so, by the time I was born, like, it was already introduced into my life, and then, of course, everybody else in my family is Christian. So I was able to get an opportunity to like go to church sometimes, and we used to kind of grow up in the mosque and grow up listening to like Minister Farrakhan. So I was able to kind of see the similarities in two. So that's why even to this day, somebody even asks me like what my religion is. Like I've never said that I was Muslim or Christian because like I feel like I feel like if you know the definition of both of them, like, it kinda means the same, and even though it's a misconception that it's so many similarities, like, there's so many, things in the Bible that also they teach you in the Quran, vice versa, so, a lot of people just don't get an opportunity to have that type of background and where they get to learn, you know, both.
So yeah, so I mean, I think just me going into Christianity a lot more deep dive in, and then him still, having his own beliefs, and it was just challenging at that point where we really thought that we weren't going to, make it,
Mhm.
and lots of prayer. And for me, I was really just praying, and I really prayed, and I asked God, I was like, if to continue giving me the strength because, it wasn't easy at all. It's like when you make that step, God definitely shakes things around. People, you lose friendships, you even, with our relationship was shaky, and I had to really stay strong and just continue to stay strong for my boys, but continue in prayer and not lose sight of what I knew was right. So, like, my focus was God and just continuing to seek God and do the things that I felt that were right. And so I think at that point, we did start therapy. So we started going to therapy, which that was a huge step for him as well, because at first he was against going to therapy. And
I'm almost a therapist myself, like Like, you just got to get to know me a little more. That's all it is. But yeah, I was kinda against it because I really didn't see no
Valid.
I wouldn't say no value. I just didn't see, like, what really can they tell me about me to help me when I feel like I had a good like, I just
You felt like you knew better than that therapist. You said, "Ain't nothing you could
I wouldn't say knew better, but I know me. I kinda know where we at. Like, I'm not like I'm not making no I'm not I don't feel like my decision making in that moment was like, kinda, off in any type of way. Like, I see kinda, like, where I stand, where she kinda stands. I see, like, the difference. I understand, her well, let me say this. I understood where she was taking it, but I also felt like it could also be a little bit of, her kinda it was kinda
A
like a
power
little it was definitely a power move. It was her it was and also, and this was my thing as well too, like, if I give in to her power move, her power play, it's almost like me saying that, you can your power portal is gonna be, the dominant factor in this relationship. Like, I surrender to that. And I didn't want that to be like the basis of us even getting married. So even on the strength of me feeling like you know, that I do want to still marry you and we are gonna continue to do it. I can't just do it immediately now because now you just took sex off the table. And if I cave in at this very moment, you know, and let's let you feel like that the you taking the sex off the table was the reason why, oh, now he went ahead and just made sure that he did it real fast. But we had to go through a little struggle anyway, because even though she might have not, felt that way, I felt like the optics of it, somebody else could think, because family and friends kind of knew what was going on at that moment. I never wanted that to be something that can like sway my decision on why I did X, Y, and Z. So,
and everybody was telling him, like, what are you waiting for? Like, what's going on?
yeah.
you just needed a moment." That's
He
all.
needed a lot. Yeah, he needed his moment.
A moment and you
But
got it.
I think I was also still trying to just get other things still in order. What else I could do and what much can I invest in something else? And then I had moments of even thinking, I mean, is it even really my responsibility to take on this financially this wedding scenario? So really, I was having mixed feelings, from that. But I think if we would have had it was no way for us to have a real, just simple wedding because first off, majority of my family here in Charlotte, a lot of her family is in Puerto Rico, a lot of her family is in Tampa. Like, how do it just be simple when you kind of appease everybody?
Well, when I mean simple, I meant like we could just get married through the court like we did, and then plan a lot of people do that. Like they wait, they get married through the court, and then they have the wedding. So I think that's what I meant. I was like, even with the ring, I was like, I don't care what the ring looks like. It's like for me too, it's like we have boys, right? And I want them to know, I want them to, understand like what just the fact of, like, us getting married, what that means, like, what does it say in the Bible, and how we like, just us as a couple and married, and that they see that their mom and dad are together and married. I mean, I think that was, like, for me at least, it meant a lot. So, you know
Yeah,
I think
you wanted to make it a part of your foundation,
right.
not girls, but mainly for the boys. I can see that. I can understand that
Let me
100%.
ask you this though. Really don't do women really not care about the ring? Because I never. I mean,
They
I believe her to a degree, but still, after you get some compliments on your ring, then you see how she feel. Like, I knew before I got the ring, she probably didn't care, but I think after she got the ring and after she started getting compliments on it, that's when I'm sure she was very appreciative that I did do a little better than what she wanted, what I mean, me to do for a ring, in my opinion.
No, it's important. I can see for her, like, okay, it's important, but it's not. But at the same time, it's important. I mean, it is important. I remember just thinking back on mine. My situation was completely different. I purchased our rings, mine and his, when we
Mm,
first got married. That was, I mean, that whole situation was messed up. Like a year later, he did end up buying me a ring. It was a beautiful ring, but that ring ended up getting lost. And then, like a few years after that, he bought me another ring. So the ring is important. I'm just thinking, like, if I would have just been patient and just waited on God's timing for it to happen God's way, either God's way or God's person. If it wasn't supposed to be him, whatever, then I would have probably it would have played out differently. So I mean, it is important. Like now, I wouldn't settle for just, "Oh, you can buy me a ring later," but that's now because I've been through whatever I've been through, so it's different. Mine looks different than yours, but everybody's situation is different. And some women need, like, the most expensive ring out here. You can't like, we're not all the same.
yeah. So I was proud of it. So it was not only, something that I wanted to kind of do for her to where she can be proud of it, even if she was willing to take less of. I also wanted, to be proud of the ring I got her as well too. So
It's more for the man, the compliment, at least I feel like in some situations.
I
yeah,
mean,
it's represents the love, and I want somebody to see a ring and be like, "Ooh, he love you."
he values you as his wife. He doesn't want you just walking around with anything on your finger because that represents him. I mean, it shows people who he is. I mean, I don't know if I was a man, that's how I would see it, right? Like, well, that's my wife. That's what I put on her finger, and
Mhm. Yes, he did a good job. I do get lots of compliments on the ring. He did good.
that's good. You did good. Oh, you did good.
Yeah,
We got married August 15, 2020. And I think just in the light of where I was at with my walk with God, I think that was just important for me to do, you know? So,
Yeah, I can see that.
oh, once you get engaged, this was my timeline in my world. Once you get into engaged, you got about another 5 years if you wanted to. You know what I'm saying? You can stretch it that long if you wanted to. That's what I was thinking. You know what I mean?
I was like, no, sir.
Um, that's great that you respected what Yolaika wanted. I mean, that's important. It's important to respect your wife because that's your helper. That's the person that helps you get through everything.
Yeah.
I was very happy. Once we did get married, the moment we got married, when she's, when we said I do, I just felt like some weight I felt like was able to see some weight lifted off her. So just for that moment, just seeing that release and that, like, just weight, you know, off her, I felt like, damn, I should have been did that. I never knew she was like carrying that type of weight, or how
Yeah.
that really felt. Cause I think about, whatever I'm internalized, and then I wasn't really giving too much, to that. And seeing that, that made me really wish I would have did it a little sooner.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
not
I think
woman.
I think for me, I was living through like having shame and guilt and for having my children outside of marriage. And so I think that, of course, going through when I got baptized and just knowing who I am in Christ, like I think those things, of course, slowly started breaking off and I started working towards those things of like not allowing the enemy to whisper those lies and just getting more into the word and what God says is true. I think that definitely helped me, but definitely getting married was a step.
God, I mean, at the end of the day, you did it for your relationship with God.
Right. Because that
You
was
made him first. You put him first, and he honored your return. He honored your return. So that's good. So how do you feel about her relationship with God?
Me, I love it. I love to, that it's, just kind of contagious around my house for it just to, always exude through her through me, through my kids, just in the environment. I think you can feel it. You can sense it. Like even like when I walk into a prayer closet, you can kind of feel, a sense of that type of power as well. So I mean, I love that. I love it for her. I love it for our household.
I mean, that's good because that's gonna show your boys what type of woman they need to be searching up.
Yeah.
Set that set that standard.
Well, I think everything happened for a reason. Everything happened, even though it wasn't on my time, and everything happened on time to me. Even you know, the kids, her moving to Charlotte. Everything kind of happened on time because it also, helped, me evolve from a lot of the things that I was doing that could have um, been another path to where, cause ain't no telling, so I do believe that for sure. And even though it didn't happen the way that we probably could have painted it perfectly to happen, it actually still
It
is
did happen
our little perfect chaos to me. You know what I mean?
perfect. It's perfect. It did. I mean, it doesn't look like somebody's fictional story, but your story is,
Yeah.
and it is perfect. It's perfect in
Well,
its
y'all
own.
have fictional stories in y'all head on how things supposed to be and go. So
And but real, it's not real. But
yeah.
your reality is I love how everything played out for you guys.
I made it through lots of ups and downs, but we're here still choosing each other. It's very blessed for the home we built together with our 3 boys and yeah,
So
and a dog.
who would have known that I ever would have had a dog?
Mhm.
You got to know me. I never pictured myself with a dog. We have a dog.
So that's our story.
Thank you guys for sharing your story with that session.
Yeah. Are you welcome?